Enjoy the show.
Well, welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It's Friday, the 16th of May. What a great way to conclude your week here with myself, Steve Wyss, and I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Holden again on back-to-back live shows. How are things with you today, my man?
Fantastic. Great to be with you, Steve. I've got two things to say before we start. Forza Roma and Forza Homer, because we are flying in the PGA. But yeah, great to be back.
Yeah, that does suit you, actually.
Thank you.
Very good indead.
Lifetime in the game, Steve.
I'm betting on Roma this weekend. I really like it. Claudio Ranieri's last home match ever as a manager, unless he does a Warnock and come back. Yeah, so plenty to discuss today. PGA Championship. You gave out Homer 150 to 1 on the Instagram, right?
Yeah, on Instagram we gave Scotty Scheffler as the win bet and Max Homer at 150. So he is now 6 under on the day into 20 to 1. Just dropped a shot, but no worries in joint third.
Yeah, it's a very hard place to actually not drop a shot, I must say. So, it's about bounce back ability and all that. We've got a couple of 3-ball plays from Simon on the PGA Championship. He's going to give us his thoughts on how things are progressing at Quail Hollow. It's a really interesting course and developments there. We've got 2 Premier League games on the slate, and ATP in Rome is reaching the crunch point as well. Just like yesterday, you are going to be relaying some information and a bet from our tennis specialists. So we're looking forward to that. Might have a bit of FA Cup final talk as well. Let us know in chat who you think is going to win the FA Cup final. How is it going to go? My gut feeling is that Manchester City are priced a little bit too short to win that FA Cup final, but I'm interested to see what everyone's thinking. There is an Eliteserien round kicking off in an hour's time. If we've got time, I'll give you a couple of players at the end. The lineups will be out soon. But yeah, so looking forward to loads of stuff. Yesterday on the most notable winner on the soccer was actually in the Swedish league. And I can't quite believe someone placed $10,000 on Värnamo against Malmo, a Värnamo team who have been awful, but they did draw. They drew the game. That was a nice winner, $10,000 winner on the Asian handicap for 75. $5,000 lost, sadly, on Espanyol double chance live against Barcelona. Congratulations to the Blaugrana. They are the champions of Spain. Not a good outcome for that particular better, though. And the Thunder costing several on the sportsbook as well. Nearly $50,000 loss on the money line there on the Thunder, and -5 on the handicap as well. So a mixed bag sort of yesterday overall, though. Plenty of live streams as well today. Some house specials I'm going to tell you about from the golf and also in the Man United game coming up soon. And I've got some PGA wagered breakdowns as well to tell you. But I mean, on the headline, this was never actually going to be talking about any Premier League games today, Simon, when we initially scheduled it into the card. But we've got an incredible Europa League final between Spurs and Man United coming up on Wednesday, of which is going to be hopefully a live betcast, actually. Myself, James Easton, Nigel, hopefully going to be involved in that. But the Premier League have wisely, and I think fairly, brought these 2 matches on Friday. Villa against Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United. Let's start with the Villa game. Villa against Tottenham, -345 favourites, Villa to win here. It's an interesting scenario. We've got 2 teams who are just focusing on the Europa League, 2 teams who need to win to get in the Champions League places. Villa are actually now -315, so they've drifted a bit. Tottenham as big as +750. But, I mean, I know you might have a slightly different opinion overall. But, I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere near the 2 underdogs today myself. But Villa at minus 315 now, is that a bet? I mean, are they going to win? Is it a question of how many they're going to win by? What's your take on this game?
Well, I mean, just as a quick aside, we have two teams here. Aston Villa, who beat Bayern Munich. They've been in the Champions League. Fantastic. They had a little lull mid-season, but they've come back firing. They've got the most amazing manager, really good squad. They could miss out on a Champions League place. And Tottenham, I know a lot of Tottenham fans up here, particularly at my golf club, who have been furious all year, hate the manager, hate most of the squad, and they could end up being in the Champions League. So it's absolutely bizarre. Villa have been great. They've got two more hurdles. They win these two games. I think they'll make that Champions League, but they're going to be a bit weary. I know it almost looks too good to be true, doesn't it, these two, for the big double that'll pay you just short of evens, won't it, I think? Yeah, of the two, I think Villa are rock solid tonight. I do think, though, at that price, you're almost better off looking elsewhere. I mean, I like Ollie Watkins, anytime goal scorer. I think he's got a bit to prove, Steve, don't you? He's obviously been very hurt by how this season's gone, being edged out somewhat late on. At home, Villa, I think, is it 5 in a row? They're just so rock solid, and they've got so many attacking options. They're not the greatest at keeping clean sheets, so maybe over 3.5 goals could be the way to go as well. I'd rather play that and Ollie Watkins anytime scorer really than pile in on Villa, though I do think they win. Surely Tottenham are bad enough when they turn up away from home lately, but when they turn up away from home with all the players not wanting to get injured, then they're going to be even worse. I know they do have a great record against Villa, though, don't they, over the years? I think it's 8 and 9.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've honestly never really been one. Head-to-head, I think, is an overrated stat, especially those that happened years and years ago. I don't dismiss it entirely, especially in big matchups, derby games. Maybe this is a ridiculously lopsided something. I think manager matchups are more important than club matchups. Manager matchups really do make a lot of sense. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of pressure still on Ange Postecoglou. It's felt like he's been on the hot seat for, 6 months? The Europa League's kept him alive. And that is the entire focus for me on Spurs. You know, that double you mentioned, I mean, I've got it written down here. I think minus 113, Man United, sorry, not Man United, Chelsea and Villa. I've even got the Asian handicap -1 double here at plus 161. We'll talk about that after we've talked about the Man United game as well. But I agree with you here. Villa really should be getting the job done quite comfortably. Welcome everyone into the chat. Rick Haley, Ming, Duncan, Villa fan. Great selection of the golf, Simon, he says.
Very kind.
Yeah. Rick LeBrick, great to see you as well. He likes Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final. Dave Clark says, nice jacket, Simon. I do agree.
Thank you.
Said off air, didn't I? Lovely.
Yeah.
But no, this is Villa fan. This is from, obviously, Adam, who says, no value in Villa tonight, but I would recommend Villa to get top 5 at 5-4 plus 120. He's seeing a walkover today. And then, of course, they've got Man United on the last day. Haven't they?
Can I just say, challenging that? I totally get the point, but just maybe put in, why are they no value if you think they're going to win easily?
Very good question.
Just a sort of devil's advocate point. Why are they no value tonight?
Well, did you watch the dojo with Nigel and Neil this week yet? Because they were talking about short price favourites. You know, when is value, when is not value, when is too short, because you're absolutely right. You can sometimes hoover up these sort of prices, which might look short, but actually probably should be shorter. Depends how you're pricing it up. You know, motivation, we do know, is a big factor. The lineups as well is going to be a big thing. And let's just give you a breakdown for this game. 93% of the money and 91% of the tickets on the money line are on Aston Villa. That's no surprise. On the over-under market, there's more money on the under. 52% of the money is on the under. So they're not
surprising.
The bettors are not biting here. Over 3.5 goals is minus money. And the bettors are not biting at that over, which is, I think that's got to be because it's the goal line itself. If it was a 2.5 goal line or, you know, in between the two lines, everyone will go on the over. When the goal line goes to 3.5, there's always a lot more reluctance to automatically get on when you need 4 goals. I mean, I wouldn't really go over or under on it. I think that's a fair line. You said you would lean over 3.5 goals, Simon, right?
Well, I don't think Villa can afford to shut up shop tonight. There's too much on the line. I think he's got to go and go again. And if they're 2-0 up, he'll bring on more attacking players, won't he, for the last 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't see this being a cosy spray it around with 2-0 up. It's too risky. It's all or nothing for Villa. It really is.
What's your best bet then for this game? Aston Villa, Tottenham.
I like the Watkins anytime. I think the guy's got a lot to prove. All sorts of rumours about he's made his views known about his treatment. But what better way to make your point than to score 2 or 3 tonight? You know,
-114 to score at any time.
Again, I think that's value against a team that. But let's ask ourselves this: if Tottenham were not in this final, would we still fancy them to get a good hiding tonight? I would.
Well, yeah, I would.
And now we throw in an extra variable of they might not be that bothered.
Yeah, I mean minus. Often you're right. -315 to win. The goal scorers, though, -114 does look a big price on Watkins to score anytime. He's actually +360 for 2 or more goals, and for those who really actually only 18 to 1 for the hat trick. That looks a little bit short for a hat trick. But to score any time is the best value out of those 3, -114.
That's the bet tonight.
Yeah, that's the bet there. I mean, a player I always like, and I'm trying to find him actually in the market for the latest odds, is Morgan Rogers at score or assist, -105. I think he's a great player. He doesn't score enough goals, but I feel at some point, probably next season, he might explode more in that area. But he's a dual threat in that department. Again, in a match where the goal line is 3.5 minus money for over, then I think -105 Morgan Rogers to score or assist is worth looking at personally. There myself.
We both think. I think I can speak for us both. With a fair bit of certainty that this Villa manager is as good as it gets.
Yeah, he's one of the best out there in a one-off game if he needs. Yeah,
and you're saying about the manager matchups. I mean, the Tottenham guy. A lot of Tottenham managers will be watching Tottenham this year and be saying, "I got sacked for a lot less than this guy to get away with." So it wouldn't surprise me if they got in the Champions League and still ditched him.
Look, I personally think that Ange Postecoglou will leave Tottenham in the summer, whatever happens in the final. I think if he doesn't win the final, he'll probably get sacked or neutrally let go. If he wins it, I could see him saying, "You know what? There's your trophy. I'm out of here," because he hasn't enjoyed the negativity that's gone. It's a lot different managing Tottenham to what it is Celtic. I think when he's got the right players and he's not got the injuries and stuff, maybe his systems can work. But Emery or Postecoglou, who am I taking? I'm taking Unai Emery, definitely, certainly in a one-off game. But Japanese, what do you think about this bet, Simon? Villa halftime, full-time, -115.
I like that.
Too bad, is it?
I like that. That's a good shout. Joe Bamber saying they don't care about destroying the opposition. Yeah, and I get what you're saying. A win's a win and everything, but I just think this is a game to press home the advantage and be kind of all action the first half hour and get it won. So yeah, I can see that.
You did mention the head-to-head, and I got this one from producer Troy. Tottenham has won 8 of its last 9.
Yeah.
Premier League away matches against Aston Villa. So
they've got a great record there.
Yeah, if you're a head-to-head better, you will be betting on the money line Tottenham, wouldn't you? Let alone on the handicaps. But for me, it's not just about head. Certainly not at this stage of the season with what is on the line for Tottenham Hotspur coming up. Biggest bet on the game pre-game actually is under 2.5 goals at +225. 4-figure bet on that one. Quite a brave bet, but I mean, someone did suggest 1-0 in the chat. If it gets close in the second half, then it is all about the result for Villa. But I just think they could do a lot of damage before we get to that sort of period, really. I think it's more likely that they'll get 2 or 3 goals and then ease up in the last 20 minutes rather than the other way around. But
put yourself in one of the Tottenham players' positions. You've got one game this year to salvage an absolute nightmare of a season, a horrific season. Apart from the win against Man City, there has been no highlights at all. The atmosphere at Tottenham, brilliant ground, must have been awful. And you're so near to that chance of salvation next week. Are you really that bothered about this, that you're going to be slamming into 50-50s with 20 minutes to go? We've got to bring human nature and things like that into it. I just think this is a game where they'll be on the back foot. And you don't want to be on the back foot against a team like Villa.
Yeah, and players will be on bonuses to qualify for the Champions League, stuff like that, to win trophies. And why would you want to you wouldn't want to risk injury. That's another thing to consider. No one wants to miss a final, do they? So it's got. I mean, if I'm going to go for a correct score prediction, I'm actually going to say 3-0 to Aston Villa. 3-1 wouldn't shock me. Spurs might just get a pop shot from somewhere that goes in. Ollie Watkins, best bet of the game. Score any time from you, Simon. -114.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
And my bet is Rodgers, score or assist, -105. Joe Bamber, after that horrendous performance against Palace, no one's taking Spurs here. I mean, yeah, it was awful. I mean, it was so bad. It should have been more, really, for Palace that day. David is saying, not my play, but negative correlation, Watkins anytime and Tottenham money line, 22-1. So, yeah, these head-to-head betters are going to be...
Yeah, and look, you've got an angle. Anyone who's got an angle.
Yeah, that's absolutely...
I know you said it was a terrible price, Steve, but obviously now I'm still linked to Roma. 18-1 for a little bit of pasta money on the hat-trick for Watkins. I don't know. I'm going to sell it. I might have a little bit. I might give it some spaghetti carbonara out of that.
I mean, I just think, in general, like 18-1 for a hat-trick is... You'd want more. I mean, if I'm going to back someone for a hat trick, I want at least 33-1. In
circumstances.
General rule. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Maybe you've got to adapt to the circumstances, but I'm not saying it's a terrible price for the game. But yeah,
I know what you mean. It's a jackpot bet, isn't it? You want a jackpot price for a jackpot
I know you
bet.
Do. Yeah. I'd say the -114 any time for compared to a hat trick at 18-1. For me, the any time bet is by far the better value bet. But anyway, Chelsea Man United. Then we're going to move to now. Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea -220 on this graphic. I can tell you now they're -205 now. Another team. Both of them have actually drifted a little bit. Villa and Spurs.
Yeah.
Chelsea. The ties at +380 now. Man United have been backed into +475. Over 3.5 goals is at +140. Now, I suppose it's a very similar sort of vibe to the Villa Spurs game. I suppose the difference might be, how good are Man United compared to Spurs. There is an historic rivalry between the two teams. It's the North versus South thing that there used to be, especially during the Fergie era with Mourinho and stuff. So they've got that. But again, Man United, they've got one eye on the prize for me again. In the Europa League final in Bilbao. This is the match that you think might not be so straightforward for the favourite.
Yeah. Now, I got myself some terrible abuse for tipping Man United to win at Forest when me and you did the show. And I still say it was a great bet. They hit the bar about 3 times the first 20. Forest had one chance and scored. One of them things. Since then, Man United have really gone on decline, apart from their little European adventure. But I do think my thoughts here about swimming against the tide are based around one thought, really. I think the personal pride, the bad feeling between the clubs, the fact that the manager, it's Man United and his job is potentially still on the line. He's desperate to get across his methods. I think Man United are more likely to put a genuine shift in tonight than Tottenham are. I do agree that some of the same logic goes on to Man United as does Tottenham for next week and the big game, and this is not the main focus. But Chelsea Man United is a tasty fixture, and they will not want to roll over and get their tummies tickled and get beat 4-0 just before this big final. And I wonder if some of the Chelsea players might be... I've sensed watching Chelsea the last few games, Steve, that they look very, very tense and a little bit clueless at times. And I'm going to bet the draw in this. I'm going to go against a lot of the things I said in the previous game. I've got a funny feeling that Villa will be all action and Tottenham will be, that'll do us after an hour. But I just think if Man United can keep Chelsea quiet for 20 minutes, they might get into this game and play a little bit. And whilst it's a stretch, I know they've been cut this afternoon in the win market. I could see them nicking a 1-1 maybe.
I mean, I've got
Nobody's going to agree with that.
Well, look, Newcastle just beat Chelsea 2-0, and I agree with you there.
Yeah,
About,
and Chelsea were poor. They were poor.
But that is one of the hardest places to go in Premier League, St James's Park. In their last home game, Chelsea just beat the Premier League champions, Simon.
True.
And which I thought, okay, they've won the title. They were maybe partying that week, but I actually thought Chelsea were good that day. So, and they're very good at home. They are very good at home this season, Chelsea. You know.
Yeah. Do you think they genuinely beat Liverpool that day, or they played a ceremonial weeping on the lash Liverpool?
Obviously, it wasn't prime Liverpool, but I mean, you still got to beat what's in front of you, and they are the champions. The champions of the league. Chelsea home record in the league this season. 11 wins out of 18. 5 draws. I think one of the few losses was right early on. Was against Manchester City, off the top of my head.
Yeah, and they played quite well in that game. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot mentioned. To be fair, this is a very good point. Mentioned Jackson, who, I mean, he divides opinion a lot, doesn't he? Nicholas Jackson. You can say what you want about him, but he is ruled out of this game because of suspension. The record without him isn't that great, is it? Look, he's still not a player I would trust to hit the back of the net if my life depended on it, especially in a one-on-one. I don't deny he does bring plenty to the team. Neto's going to be starting up front, projected potentially. George on the left. Palmer's obviously the key man, but he's been pretty cold in the second half of the season. But for me, Simon, this double, I can't get away from this double.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I just said to you earlier, sometimes when you sit down and look at something and it looks too good to be true, and you say there's 2 fixtures tonight, rock solid home wins. It's somehow there's always something in the 2 that is unexpected. And I just think that the value here on United getting something at Chelsea is more likely, and there's more logical reasons to think this will be a proper Premier League, bit of nastiness maybe, game than the Villa-Tottenham game. That's my thinking. I have been consistently overrating Man United, thinking that this guy will get his points across all year. So I am an unreliable witness in the court case here. And that sometimes it's low-hanging fruit. This could be something that cashes and both win 3-0. I can see that. I've just got that instinctive feeling that United will put a shift in tonight.
So in what sort of way are you going to get with Man United then and the bet in front here, Simon? Looking at player props, you're looking at handicaps.
I'm going to bet the draw. Yeah, I'm going to bet the draw.
Yeah,
I think it'll be low scoring. I'd be interested in maybe the 1-1 split stakes, 0-0 1-1. So yeah. I think it could be a bad-tempered, low-scoring affair.
The biggest.
Do you think this Chelsea team are capable of giving Man United a spanking tonight?
I don't think it'll be. No, I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think. I was just going to say the biggest bet placed on the game so far is nearly $5,000 and under 3.5 goals at -172, and I think that cashes. There's a few saying unders here, low scoring sort of win for Chelsea. And that's the way I see it. I think 2-0 Chelsea's the most likely score. I think in the second half, logically, the last 20, 30 minutes, Man United, just like Spurs, will want to get out of there without any injury problems. The teams will start passing the ball around. Remember Chelsea as well, they've got a massive game next week against Forest, the final round. They don't want any more suspensions, any injuries. It's just the thing. If one of these games does become sort of a match, if you know what I mean, though, then obviously that changes the whole dynamics of it. But I'm not going to go on the straight double. The straight double I think plays about -114 the last time I looked. But I like the -1 Asian handicap double plus 160. I've got a bit greedy there, but I'd rather do that. I don't want to lump a huge number on a parlay double. But at plus 161, I can have a little bit more of a lesser stake. I still feel it's a value bet.
But many people will, Steve. Many people will lump on that double tonight,
and I wouldn't blame them for it, in a way.
But we've got a very, very tight Champions League race with so much at stake. 6 goes into 5 or whatever, however you want to describe it. One team will flop in these last two games. One team will blow it. There'll be somebody that messes this up. I nearly swore there. Messes this up. And I've got a funny feeling Chelsea are more likely than, say, Villa are. I just don't trust this team as much as I trust Villa. And Duncan's just made a point that was put up there, that United are one of them teams that will let you down when you think they're rock solid to win. And then in a big game, will come to the party. We've seen that time and time again. Now, I know they're in the big final, but I just got this feeling United will put performance on tonight.
Yeah, just looking through the comments here. Duncan Evans says, the double looks too good to be true. Something will go wrong. Joe Bamba, United is trash. Whoever backs them deserves to lose. Jazzo says, I fear United will phone this game in. Nothing to play for. But United have played better against the bigger teams, as Duncan says. Dan Roebuck, easy double, free money. Dan Roebuck's on this double. He likes it. Yeah, so look, it depends.
That makes me even more keen to get stuck into the draw.
Anyway, 84% of the money on the money line is on Chelsea. 83% of the tickets on them as well. Just like the Villa game, there's more money on the under than the over. 56% of that money is on the under. So, I mean, this is unusual because bettors often get attracted to the overs. I think, I mean, this goal line's a little bit more sort of generous in that respect. I wouldn't bet the over. I said I think it'll go under 3.5. The Asian total's at 3. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised perhaps, but there is that big play obviously on the under 3.5 goals, which might distort that a little bit. I mean, what about have you got any player props here that caught your eye, Simon, or not? The lineups are going to be very difficult to predict. Probably. Well,
yeah, to be honest, in those goal scorer markets, there's 5 of the top 10 in the betting are not even certain to be playing. So it was kind of a little bit odd in that respect. I remember I'm not betting Man United to win, folks. Here. I'm betting this to be a tight and dirty board draw. So I do get all the negativity that's come Man United's way. They deserve every single last ounce of it on some of the awful play this year, but they are that team that can shock you every now and again. And I do think there's probably more competition in their squad for a final place, Steve. That's the other thing. When we say about the team's got nothing to play for, there's 11 players who've got a lot to play for to try and get in the team next week. So I would imagine that the Tottenham 11 is already in his head.
Of course it will be. So, I mean, I wouldn't even look at any Man United player props until we got the lineups out. There's one player who's going to catch the eye for Chelsea, and it is Cole Palmer. I think anyone who's been backing him probably since, January, February, may well have been burnt quite a lot. But he is minus 136 to score or assist in this game. He's plus 125 to score. Would you go near either of those bets on Chelsea's top player?
Not the player of the last half of the season, no. But again, he's going to have to step up to the plate and come to the party, because there'll be a lot more pressure on him today. So are we going to see the guy who blew us all away? Are we going to see, he looks, when he gets the ball, he looks a different player, doesn't he? The control's not the same, or very, very strange. There's obviously something gone on there, but it's all about the price, isn't it? I just think that banker draw is that banker double, is a bit like Duncan Evans says. There's just a niggly feeling that's going to go wrong. But of course, if it does cop and they both win, Villa win 4-0, they win like 2-0 easy, we're all going to be sat at home going, we've missed the greatest penalty kick double of all time. I get that. I wouldn't put anybody up, but I just think that this is going to be more competitive of the two. So I'm just going to do the draw. One bet in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an individual bet on the game, but I am taking that double, the Asian handicap double, Villa and Chelsea, -1 on the Asian line at plus 161. Joe Bamba is saying plus 370, Chelsea and Villa a win with Palmer and Watkins anytime scorers. Actually kind of makes sense, plus 370. Just, again, bumping up the price. Tristan Wiggle says Palmer's not the same player without Jackson. That is, I've seen that in the stats as well. Jackson, for us, again, he did divide opinion, but he seems to add something to this team. That is a loss for them. There's no doubt about it.
He's got a bit of physicality about him, hasn't he?
Yes. He does. Yeah. I don't know. He
A
makes
bit
a nuisance.
Beto-ish. Bit Beto-ish.
Yeah, you need that in the Premier League's really. You need physical players.
I mean, as a one-on-one finisher, he makes Beto look like Lionel Messi.
Yeah, you just wouldn't hang your house on him, would you? To do that. We've got Ubermensch, welcome in. Under 1.5 goals, first half double, plus 180. He's not liking the first half to explode here. But yeah, that is it for the Premier League. We might have a little bit of FA Cup chat, and I might have time, hopefully, to give you a couple of Norwegian bets before we go. But we've got the PGA Championship golf. We've still got to talk about ATP Rome. PGA Championship, I just had it on in the background, and I saw a snake going across the fairway, Simon. Near to someone's ball. I didn't quite see whose ball it was, but I would have run a mile myself.
If I was into bad golf jokes, I would have said, was it a cobra? But never mind. I'm here all week. I've been actually. Right, let's see where we are, shall we? Because we have been rather in this Man United fest.
Yeah.
We have.
Let me just get the graphic.
Johnny Vegas still leading. We got Britain's Aaron Rye in second. But the interesting thing is, of course, we put on Instagram, do get over there after this show because there is an exclusive 3-ball for tonight on Instagram. Yesterday, Eric Van Rooyen won by 5 shots. He was the day one. We're on Max Homer at 150s in the outright and Scotty Scheffler a win at 5s. Homer has got a 6 under after 14 holes, Steve, and he's now 16-1 to win this. So we are on a right one there. Scotty goes out with Xander and Rory. Now, Rory McIlroy, I don't know if you watched that marquee 3-ball last night, Steve. I have rarely seen him look as agitated. And every part of his game seemed to be off. It was bizarre, really. So he's going to have to really get his ideas going because he's capable of it. But that marquee 3-ball was kind of sold as the winner comes from this group. You know, and it was very disrespectful to the rest of the field. And, of course, it's not gone that way. The course is drying out more, still wet fairways and very firm greens because like Sawgrass, they've got an air conditioning system where they can dry the greens from the inside. So they're actually getting like concrete. A lot of the previews were saying, you know, torrential rain all week, they're going to be firing at the flags. But players that have done that have been in trouble. So you're going to have to be a bit cautious here. And, of course, last night, the scoring decreased as the course became tougher and dried out. And the greens got quite cut up. So the players going out late are at a disadvantage. So if Homer can post a score and finish around 6 under, he is bang in this tournament. I think 10 under may well win this, Steve. I think it's going to get dried out. It's going to get more and more difficult, and we'll see some high scoring over the next few days.
Yeah, I was watching and over here on Sky Sports, and they were banging on about the accuracy stat. I still refuse to believe that accuracy will win a major overall in the PGA. But there's no doubt that was a key stat yesterday. These the greens being dried out was I didn't even know they were capable of it, to be honest, at Quail Hollow. That one caught me a little bit off guard. You've got some 3-ball bets for later. Yeah. We're going to put the graphic up now. 158 Eastern and 220 Eastern, and these look competitive heats. I've gone for 3. I've gone for 3 where the prices are very, very tight. My usual modus operandi, of course, is to look for a what I call the dead wood system, where you pick somebody who's got absolutely no chance, and then you play the match. So the kind of duffer, the dead wood, gives you that little bit of value, but there aren't any there in the late. Now, my angle here with I'm going 158 Eastern time, Max Griesemann at plus 200. Now, initially, you're going to think, well, he's the least known, he's the highest ranked of the 3. But Tony Finau has had an incredibly inconsistent year. All sorts of problems off the course. His family taking him to court, as I've said before. Mine hate me, but as yet they haven't taken me to court. So he's in a very crisis. Nikolai Hojgaard fires at every flag. I don't know why he started to be like this. He's hugely inconsistent. Max Griesemann yesterday finished 1 behind Finau, but he double bogeyed the last. He was very unlucky. He got mud on the ball and it shot, and then he's ended up double bogeying. But he played the best of the 3. So knowing that, I just think he's a big price tonight. I think
Mr. Consistent. He's becoming a very, very steady player on the PGA. So he's got a game that suits round here. I think Finau's too short. I think Højgaard's too aggressive. I think we've got a good price there at plus 200. Steady Eddie, Max Griesemann. And then we've got the two. Yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah, so plus 200 on Griesemann. That looks it's great reasoning actually on this particular track. And the other three ball even closer. Sam Burns plus 175. Denny McCarthy's the favourite plus 163, and Aske Bachia, left-hander at plus 188. I don't actually know the pick yet, but I'm going to guess it's
Well, have a go, mate.
Bachia, you like him, don't you?
Oh, I like the wizard. No, it's Sam Burns. No, you were right. It's not. It's the wizard, the left-handed wizard, Akshay Bhatia. I think he is going to be a superstar of golf. I pushed and pushed and pushed, but that's not my full reason, not because I'm an uber fan of Bhatia. It's the fact that Sam Burns, like Finau, has had that a year ago. If you'd have priced this game up on what we knew then, Sam Burns would have been back minus 300, and I'd have backed him. He is just not the same player. Fallouts with coaches. He's when you look at his 4 rounds in each tournament, it's like the graphs like just all over the place. So we just can't back him with any consistency. Denny McCarthy, he's a kind of player that I can see why he's been well bet. Mentally strong, makes the very most of the game he's got. And that isn't a criticism, that's actually a praise. He gets every last shot out. But I just think Bhatia, the magician, he's got every shot in the book. And this place, you've got to be so creative around the greens. We know he can spin it. He hits the ball either way. He seems to get himself out of trouble time and time again. He's a bit like a Phil Mickelson, not just because of the left-hander, or a bit like a Seve in that, he'll throw in a few wild drives, but then you'll look and he's putting for birdie like 2 minutes later. I just think he's got a bit more about him. He's improving. Sam Burns is slightly on the decline, and McCarthy, I think Aske's got a bit more. So even though they're tight 3 balls, I cannot ever have him going on back when he's the biggest price of a 3 ball.
Yeah, so just to reiterate there, Max Griesemann plus 200 in that 3 ball there, 158 Eastern time, and Aske Bachia at 220 Eastern time. I mean, there's still a couple of hours or more before those 3 balls kick off. So you've got plenty of time to get on them. I've just had a look at the round 2 leader market. Johnny Vegas, he's -7 under par through 8 holes. He's plus 175 to be leading after round 2. We've got Ryan Gerrard at plus 900. I've never heard of him, Ryan Gerrard, honestly. No. Is Stephen's brother? I don't know. Scotty Scheffler.
He's not a household name in his own house.
Let's hope he does. He'll be looking not to slip up, won't he? Second round.
Stevie slippers.
I know. Scotty Scheffler is 10-1. I mean, Vegas here. -7 will definitely lead, won't it? Surely, if he was to get in the house at even. But can he get in the house at those?
That's a big if, isn't it?
It is a big if. Keegan Bradley 25-1. You've got Luke Donald, who incredibly didn't drop a shot yesterday.
What price is Mathieu Pavon?
I'm having to scrape down the list here. I can't actually find him.
Yeah.
Pavon. What?
He's 5 under.
Oh, hold on.
I think Vegas will collapse in the back 9.
Pavon's 5 under par. He's not actually. Where is he? He's not listed. I don't know why he's not listed, but he isn't. There was a couple that I said I'd have some breakdown on some big bets.
What about Aaron Rai? You got me interested now because
Mr. Two Glove, Aaron Rai, 50-1 to lead after round 2, and you got place terms of quarter of the odds at 1, 2, 3.
Well, he's interesting. We just as an aside, everybody was saying about the leaderboard. Oh God, he won't win it. He won't win it. And I remember on our thread, I said that the great Keith Elliott, he had an in-play running that might be of interest to people, where he would say, you look at the leaderboard of a major championship, and you go down till you see a name who is the first realistic player you can see winning that major, and he becomes your leader. So he would say, ignore Vegas, Spain, Spawn, Pavon, Gerrard, Thor Bjornsson and go down, and you go down. I'd say there's a name lurking. Scotty Scheffler.
10-1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
Range of things.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from there, actually.
6 under might win that market, Steve.
Yeah, it could. So, I mean, notable wagers on the PGA. This interests me. Max Homer, someone's got $125 on at 150 to 1. And they would win nearly $20,000 there for that play. Homer is at -4. I saw he might have just got wet. He might be going for a swim, Simon, or into some sort of hazard. I'm not 100% sure. Biggest bet is on Colin Morikawa, $1,500 at 25 to 1. That would net someone nearly 40,000 return. There's someone that's on Adam Scott, $400 at 90 to 1 as well. He was up there for a bit. Tyrrell Hatton, someone has backed him at 50 to 1, nearly $200, but he rather exploded, didn't he, earlier? Did Tyrrell Hatton?
Some people just have a short fuse, Steve.
And you're going to be continuing, aren't you, on the Instagram throughout the weekend, I do believe.
Head over there after this show for tonight's 3-ball exclusive. Yesterday's one. We've obviously got the 2 outrights. We're bang there in that. Tomorrow morning, have a look at the play. It may well be another bet in the outright. It might not be a 2-ball bet. And on Sunday, the best bet of the final day, and a quick recap. So it's going to be a very exciting Instagram weekend. So if you're not on it, please do get on it. Not just for the golf. There's a whole host of tennis, soccer, everything. It is a really growing and exciting Instagram channel.
Quick question from Byron. Bet Rivers have Harrington head-to-head favourite with Luke Donald. Donald plus 138 in that head-to-head. How would you bet on that one? Can Luke Donald repeat what he did yesterday?
Well, statistically, when Luke Donald has had the odd good round like yesterday in the last couple of years, the bad news is it's usually been followed by disaster. So Harrington's a much better player in the rankings. It might be that all will not be what it seems at close of play tonight. I think Luke Donald's going to struggle. The pressure, the physicality of getting round there, the stress, and the fact that he hasn't practiced that much because he's got a rather busy job at the moment. So yeah, I'd be wary of Luke. I'd go against him in the matchups today, actually.
Now, last week, of course, you were over in Rome and you were taking in several sporting events.
What makes you say that, Steve?
It looks very good on you.
Thank you.
But we are now, I mean, it's been a long tournament, hasn't it, in Rome for the men and the women. But we're into the real crunch stage here. And you have got a bet for us relayed from Nigel, I do believe, in the Jannik Sinner game against Tommy Paul. We've got Jannik Sinner minus 910 on the money line. The controversial Jannik Sinner, of course. Tommy Paul plus 600. 5.5 game line here to cover for Sinner at minus 109. And the game's total for the match is just 19.5. So the books here are expecting a complete blowout win for Jannik Sinner based on the odds. But I'm interested to hear the take that you are going to be giving us here on this massive game.
Yeah, I mean, if this wins, it's all mine. Now, against Casper Ruud, Sinner was just, well, tennis from the gods, it was described as. Whether he can back that up. And, of course, on the surface, this looks just a complete, waste of time. It looks, why are they even having the match? Sinner's going to roll him over. And that may well be the case. But when we look historically, when these two have played, they've played 11 sets of tennis, Steve, in their matchups. 4 of that 11 have gone to a tiebreak. Their first set of games in the last 4 matches they've played have been 13, 10, 9, and 13. And over 9.5 games in the first set is plus 120. Now, purely on the historical stats, that is a smidgen of value. We throw in the fact that Tommy Paul is an amazing server. And, of course, that ups the chance of him holding his serve. But the one, I suppose, slight negative there, of course, this is a night match. The air is going to be a bit heavier and the ball will not be going as quick, which will suit Sinner. Now, the thinking is this could be a tight first set, and then Sinner will, get the afterburners on and blow him away in set 2. But Tommy Paul has faced him up and given him a good challenge. And there's no reason to believe that he won't be at least competitive in this. So a tie break in the match is plus 270, which we feel is value and a little on the high side given the historical circumstances when they've met. 4 tie breaks in 11 sets of tennis. So that would be the main play, and over 9.5 games, first set plus 120. And also Nigel made the point to me that when you get those games of, Tennis from the Gods was one of the website with all the Roman gods, obviously, a little bit of wordplay, but seasoned tennis fans were saying that that's the best they've seen in years. Now, that's a little bit like anything, isn't it? To back that up, do you have a bit of mental letdown? Can he stay up there at that level? And if he drops a bit and Tommy Paul holds the form and holds the serving he's been doing, then he could give him a bit to think about. So we're swimming against a bit of tide here. We still think that your man is going to make it to the final, but the 2 players tiebreak in the match plus 270 looks too big, and over 9.5 games, first set. So Tommy Paul to be there to give him a really tough game and then to get beat. So let's cash and then watch Sinner march on to the final, where I hope he meets my boy Alcaraz. But of course, in fact, do we know how that other game is going?
You can bet in play with Bet Rivers on this match here. Carlos Alcaraz against Musetti. It's 2-0 to Alcaraz. In the hold on a minute, I'm just looking now. It's ended. It's over. 2-0. It's finished. Just finished.
My boys made it.
Won 6-3, 7-6. You can't bet in running anymore, sadly, on this game.
Get me a price if you can. Well, the way I'm going, I'd still lose. Yeah,
that was a very good breakdown. You actually sounded like a tennis expert there, Simon.
Yeah,
very good.
I'm like a sponge, Steve, as you know. I take it all in.
I'm going to give everyone a quick bet here. This match kicks off in 13 minutes' time, so get on quickly. It is a Norwegian Elite Series game. There's loads of matches kicking off on the wrong graphic there. It's actually that one there, Stramsgodset against Bryne. They're minus 141 now on the money line. Stramsgodset. They are facing possibly the worst team in the league, worst squad anyway, Bryne. And you can get minus 141 on Stramsgodset to win that game straight on the money line. That is the best bet on this card. And also, I'm going to advise a player of Stramsgodset to score. I've mentioned him on this show several times. Marco Fargi is plus 148 anytime. This guy has been in great form this season. 5 goals in his last 5 games. And he really should be tucking in against the worst squad, in my opinion, on paper in the league. So get on Stramsgodset, get on Marco Fargi. Tomorrow,
well, Steve, I've got 3 bets in all the Norway game. Hang on, I've got a voice in my ear. No, we've run out of time. All right.
Well, let me guess. Let me guess one of them. Let me guess that Rosenborg are one of your bets on the money line.
I'd rather not say.
Rosenborg are nearly minus 1,000 to win against Haugesund. That would be one of the biggest shocks of the day if Haugesund got a result. But Stramsgodset looking good price to me. Tomorrow, FA Cup final is a really interesting one. Crystal Palace against Manchester City. And the boys do discuss it a bit on the Premier League show. Do watch that show. But the way I see this, Man City are minus 120 to win inside 90 minutes, right? I think that's a bit disrespectful for Palace, the way that Crystal Palace have been playing this season. This is on neutral match, obviously, at Wembley Stadium. Now, I don't dispute Man City should be the favourites to win in 90 minutes. Man City should be the favourites to win the FA Cup. I actually think they should be at least evens in 90 minutes to beat Palace. And this is Palace's manager, Oliver Glasner, has won the Europa League before with Frankfurt. He has won the German Cup before, I do believe. Ever since he's come into Palace, he has treated every cup with the biggest amount of respect, even the Carabao Cup. This is a guy, I don't want to call him a cup specialist. He's much better than that. But he's obviously someone who enjoys cup competitions, wants to win them. And, you know, I feel like probably maybe at the start of the season, it might have been one of the objectives for Crystal Palace, like to drill into the squad. We want to get on a really good cup run. Yeah. So they got to the final now. I think they can really at least give Man City a bloody nose. Nigel, I think I do like Nigel's selection on the Premier League show, double chance on Palace in the 90 minutes. But I wouldn't put off anyone even to Palace to win the trophy at plus 225. Man City are minus 286 to win the trophy. I mean, goodness me, I couldn't be backing that. So, I mean, who's going to win the FA Cup?
Well, I back Palace. I have backed Palace in 90 and to win the trophy. I think my view here is that this game is priced up as though this is the Man City of 12 or 18 months ago, not the Man City of this season. And it's very disrespectful to this Palace team, who are not going to freeze at Wembley. They were here a few weeks ago and were superb. I think it's the biggest game in, their recent history. I'm not saying Man City are not taking it seriously. Of course they are. But are they going to be as up for it as Palace? I've got my doubts. And I think a Palace physically strong, athletic team that they are overpriced. And I'm going for the Eagles. It won't be a massive shot, will it?
No, it won't be a shot. But the amount of money on Manchester City, and thanks to producer Troy for giving me this data live on air, 97% of the moneyline tickets are on Man City. 97%. For me, that just feels like a huge public play where you just see the names, reputations.
Exactly.
On the money line.
Not the reality of the Man City inconsistent team that we've seen this year. That they are slightly over the top. It's the end of a long year. I think this Palace team is physically stronger than them. And I don't know. I think their value. I think, like you said, for me, this is almost lazy odds compiling.
Well, just looking again here, I mean, the biggest bet on the game so far, $2,500 on Man City to win the trophy. That's at minus 250. Four-figure bet on Crystal Palace over 3.5 corners, which interests me at plus money, actually. That's an interesting take, actually. I've not really looked at the corner angles of the game, but that's well within anyone's reach to have 4 corners in the 90 minutes. I must make, anyone betting on this match, make sure you know the rules and regs, because nearly all the markets will be in the 90 minutes. It won't include extra time, but there are ways you can bet the game as well if you think it's going to be penalties, extra time sort of thing. But do check your terms and conditions there. There is more money on the over. 76% of the money's on the over for the FA Cup final. I think it's going to be a really interesting event. I really do, Simon.
That could be a classic.
Oh, it could. It really could. There's another big event on Saturday. Dan Roebuck, any EuroVision picks? He's here in France's an each way bet. You can. I've had a look here on the Bet Rivers website. You can bet on the EuroVision Song Contest. This is in the, I've never ever mentioned this on the live show, TV and novelty, right? The global section. Then you can go to EuroVision, and there's odds on favourites. Sweden are the odds on favourites minus 120 to win the EuroVision Song Contest 2025. Austria plus 280. France plus 600, Netherlands 16-1, Finland 18-1, Israel 25-1. You can get a fifth of the odds place terms 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have absolutely no idea about these songs or anything like that, but I know the boys do discuss it on the dojo. Neil with Nigel, and I think Nigel made a good point that odds-on favourites do have a good record now in EuroVision. So,
I believe so. Tune in next week when Dan Roebuck hosts a special on 2 flies going up a wall.
He's very excited about this. This is obviously his main event. He's betting on France here each way, by the sounds of it. These, I don't know what EuroVision.
I'll have a glass of Bucks Fizz if you win, Dan. I'll have a glass of Bucks Fizz.
I got injured on the cricket field once on Eurovision Day, and I had to go to A&E, a broken finger and stuff. And I was sat in the waiting room for 3-4 hours, which is not a lot compared to these days, is it?
No, it seemed quickly then.
Anyway, and the Eurovision Song Contest was on in the background. And obviously this is the odd good song, but most of them were just, I wanted some ear protection. And here I am with a broken finger, dislocated finger. So it always kind of gives me a little bit of a cringe, actually, whenever I think of the Eurovision Song Contest. But
I won't be watching it because I'm a music fan. But
you'll be watching the PGA Championship, surely.
Of course, I will.
EuroVision, yeah. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing as well. But yeah, okay, that will do for today. What an action-packed show. Good luck, whatever you are taking across the sporting world or the non-sporting world this weekend. Just a reminder of just a couple of bets. These 3-ball bets before we go from Simon. Max Grazeman and Ashke Bachia in the Premier League. Ollie Watkins, anytime scorer. That's your best bet of the day, Simon, across the board?
No, I'm going to say Max Grazeman is.
That's your best bet of the day, Max Grazeman. Yeah. My best bet of the day is Rodgers, score assist for Aston Villa. And I do like that double, -1 Asian handicap double, Villa-Chelsea, but you're going on the tie for the Chelsea game. So, yeah. I say thanks everyone who came in on Betting Weekly live today and across the whole week as well. Loads of content, of course, on the channel. And also subscribe to the newsletter. The Insider is out today. Should be in your inbox. And Instagram absolutely is a must. So subscribe to the Instagram channel. Loads of content there. And you'll be able to access Simon's PGA picks over the weekend. But it's been a pleasure, Simon. Great stuff as always. Enjoyed it a lot. We'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live. And have a great weekend, everyone. Remember, gamble responsibly and cash those winning tickets. See y'all.